to A-Zenith, where we explore life in Dubai one letter at a time. We're unfiltered, unapologetic, and authentic. I'm your host, Bilal Mohammed, and in this episode we're diving into A for Authentic. And I'm thrilled to have Daniela with us. Daniela is a private chef and a cultural ambassador of authentic Italian food, and she joins us today on A-Zenith podcast. Hi Daniela! Nice to meet
Hey
you.
Bilal, how are
I'm
you?
good, how are you? I
Oh
feel
my
like I
gosh,
should meet you because I
amazing.
already know you.
I know it feels like we've known each other for years and we only met one evening and we had such a magical time. It sounds like a
Exactly.
movie.
100%. But how's everything going? I know you're back in Canada now.
Yes, I'm back in Canada and not for long. I'll be back in Dubai shortly, actually.
Oh, nice. So what's the plan for
So
Dubai?
that's pretty exciting. And yeah, so in May I'm heading back. So working on a couple of other things and lots of other exciting things to come. So I'm super excited that you reached out to me and that we get to talk about the food scene in Dubai because I miss it so much and I had such an extraordinary time the first time I was there. So it sort of aligns perfectly with you and I meeting and now us having this wonderful conversation about food, one of my favorite
Yeah?
topics, of course.
So just a bit of pretext. Daniela and I first met at a restaurant in Dubai called Ciao Bella, and Daniela
Yeah.
had a wonderful menu created just for the night, and it was such a beautiful night. I think the food was incredible. It was an exceptional night, and I'm really glad to call you a friend now, which I think is amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm so honored and thank you so much. I mean, thank you for being there. Thank you for everything that you did to make sure that that evening was so wonderful. And I mean, just being yourself made it easy for me to make it an even better night. So thank you.
Oh, totally my pleasure. If you can make me food, I'll be happy and be nice.
Yeah. When
um,
you're in Toronto, you come, you stay here, you eat here. I warn you, you will gain weight, but there's a gym right across from me. It's all good.
oh, I'm happy to gain the weight and not go to the gym, so I think I'll be alright.
It's worth
Okay, cool. I think Dubai has, like you said, it's very diverse in its food and the way it's presented. I think there's a very big contrast between the really expensive restaurants like Oceano, the really high quality Michelin star restaurants, to the ones that are kind of very authentic and very down to earth. Are there any in
it.
Dubai that kind of stand out to you as being quite authentic in their menus?
Yeah, I mean there are a few, but funny thing is we're talking authenticity, and to me, authenticity goes even beyond the dish that ends up on the table.
Yeah.
So for me, authenticity is a little bit of, how authentic is the atmosphere? How authentic is the staff with the guests? How authentic is the team itself with everyone? How authentic is the connection to whatever the cultural cuisine is? And how authentic is, the sustainability and everything else? One of the, I mean, obviously, two of the restaurants that stand out to me the absolute most are the ones that I was at already, which are Ciao Bella and Latte. And they stand out to me in a number of reasons, for a number of reasons. And that's because they're authentic in a lot of areas. The food and bev manager at Latte is Italian, from Italy. Yes, he speaks amazing English, so he was able to bring some of those extraordinary dishes from Italy to his kitchen in Dubai. Ciao Bella, same thing. They are authentic in preparing. The time that I spent there with their staff in the kitchen and their chefs, oh my gosh, remarkable, just remarkable. I mean, we were learning Italian. I was teaching them Italian. They enjoyed the culture. They were immersed in everything. And so they put that passion forth in putting those dishes to the tables. And the staff, the servers, everyone, they absolutely loved being a part of that. And so their dishes come from really being inspired by the Italian culture as well. But then there's some other ones that I truly love. I mean, I'm a steak girl. And so the Meat Co. Oh my gosh. It is, if I can give you a little bit of a depiction on that place, it's um, South African origin,
Yeah.
uh, Costa in the mid 70s, and maybe I'm a little biased because it's, the year after I was born. He came over and he specializes only in steaks, some of the most extraordinary cuts around the world that he gets in, and you'll get that. He doesn't have a mishmash of everything. He's extremely focused on the menu. You're not going to find ethnic dishes. It is steak and the beautiful perfect pairings like seafood dishes, etc. And I thought it was kind of funny because the first time I was on their website, he kind of looks like obviously for the era, a mid-70s Sonny Bono, which is kind of cool. I don't know if you know who that is, but yeah. And it's just, it's a world of incredible cuisine, atmosphere, ambiance. So yeah, I'll tell you, there's quite a few restaurants in Dubai that have really, in and of itself, taken my breath away, to be honest, because before I was invited to go, I knew of Dubai. I was familiar with Dubai, but I had never really had it on my radar to go to Dubai. And I instantly became obsessed. It's just opulent, it's luxury, it's extraordinary, but there's a little bit of everything there for 100%. Everyone.
I think Dubai has a really good way of, like you said, just like being very touching bases all around the world, having food from every culture. I think, like you said, the Meat Co. So I've been to the Meat Co. twice, and their steak has been exceptional every time. Like I love their steak, and and that's the best part of having a restaurant that just focuses on one menu item. Yeah, they do it so well. Yeah. Question: what kind of steak? What piece? Not piece? What Yeah, it is piece. What area of steak do you have? Is it? Do you have
So I eat in a very funny way, I will tell you. When I go somewhere, I most often don't even take a look at the menu. I either ask for the chef to come out to me, or I ask for someone like the som or someone else to come out. And I essentially say, hey, listen, I've had a crappy day. I've had a great day. I want something that you're going to wow me with. And that's it. I don't tell them how to cook my steak, because as much as I love steak, you know the cut you've got. You know where it came in. You know how it's been handled in the kitchen. And you know how you're going to cook it for me. And I appreciate the hard work that goes into a chef's hands and the extreme amount of love that goes into the kitchen. So most often I won't order off a menu. And it's different for me every time.
Even if it's like a well done steak.
I mean, I don't think any steak should be eaten well done.
Thank you. We can agree on one thing.
I think you're disrespecting the meat. Yeah. I think there's definitely an order to things. And when I'm going into a place like the Meat Co. and I'm trusting that I'm getting what they're completely knowledgeable of, then I know I'm not going to get a well-cooked anything, which is exactly what you hope for when you go to a good steakhouse. I don't think any meat should be well-cooked. Not lamb, not steak, not anything, really.
I totally agree. I always love my steak to be medium rare. And when I took my mum to a restaurant in Dubai... so I took my mum to a restaurant in Dubai called Kana. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's in the SLS hotel. It's like on the...
Yes! You know where that is.
Say again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
you know what Kana is? That's Dario Cecchini.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, do you know him?
That's right. And Dario Cecchini is from childhood. So he has a pretty fascinating story. Dario Cecchini is from Italy, from a little town in Italy. So Panzano and Chianti in the Tuscany region. And if you follow his story, it's most fascinating. Like, he's the most famous person for La Bistecca Fiorentina, the Florentine steak. So Carna is superb. So good for you. I'm so thrilled and impressed that you were there.
Honestly, their steak was exceptional. And I'm a really big fan of steak tartare.
Yeah.
And I love a steak tartare. If I go for dinner, I have to have a steak tartare. I think it is just like beautiful. But the one at Kana blew my mind away. So firstly, he showed us how he made it. So he took us to this side room, and they had like a wooden table, and he was like chopping up with this big like meat cleaver. He was like adding things to it, and I was like, it was just beautiful, mind blowing. My mum's not a huge fan of it, but I was just like loving it. I love steak tartare. But also their steak was cooked really well. They only used like two things, he said. I think it was like rosemary and butter. That's all they used to cook their steak, and maybe black pepper and salt. But those are the only two like things that they use. It's very minimal in the way they flavour it, but it's just so powerful. Like, the flavours are insane. Okay, so we've certainly spoken a lot about like
and that there is true.
Go on, say again.
No, I was just going to say, and that is altruistic to Italian cuisine. Extremely few ingredients because you're getting the quality of the ingredients themselves. And when you
Yeah,
have, let's take a meat, for example, whatever cut of whatever animal it is, that right there, I mean, before it even gets on the table, before it even gets to the butcher block, on the farm and at the agricultural space, those animals, let me tell you, are taken care of extremely well, better
yeah,
than some relatives. I'm not even joking. And, like the respect and love that goes into them. And if you even have a conversation with someone like a Dario Cecchini that has extreme respect for the food that he's preparing, which is exactly, one of the things that him and I have in extreme common, is you're not caring for the dish that you're preparing just because someone's eating it, but it's for all of the process steps that it has taken before it got to the table. And that's what
yeah,
we respect the most about it. And then when you're at the table, if you are not enjoying it in company, with wine, with conversation, with stories, with laughter, you're not doing those dishes any justice. So there's such an extended period of enjoyment, the, as we say, convivialità, in compagnia, that really carries through the essence of a beautiful dish. And that is the one thing that I was so impressed with about Dubai, that they get it. It's
yeah.
not just about a restaurant being a restaurant or a restaurant being high end, but that's what they're trying to emulate there. And I think the reason it works so well is because it quite literally is among the top few multicultural, really true multicultural places in the world to be able
Yeah.
to bring that to truly to the table.
I always say Dubai is like a hot pot of like culture. It's just people coming in, coming out, and they bring in their
Yeah.
flavors and their like views and their like authentic home cooked dishes. So when I lived in Dubai, I used to always host Eid dinner or Eid breakfast with my friends. So I used to bring my friends
Yep.
around, and we used to always have like a traditional Pakistani breakfast. So that'd be like a so-called halwa puri, which is like
Ooh.
a sweet semolina, I think it's semolina dish with like fried bread and then like like a chickpea like curry. And that to me is very very like home, but also the cooking is very authentic and it's very different to anything I've ever tried in any restaurant. And I think it's just like the family touch.
Beautiful.
Like my mum tells me the ways that she cooked it, the ways that her mum cooked it, and then I would learn from my grandma and my mum, and then I would learn certain aspects of, like for example, soaking the chickpeas before you use them. Don't use them directly from the can, and things like that, just to make it
Yeah,
as delicious as possible. And I think Dubai has a
that's
really good
right.
way of bringing those people together and giving them the stage to like showcase that beauty, which is really powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Okay, so
and that's one of the other things with authenticity. Sometimes it's not just about the dish, but in the method. Because if you love what you're doing, even if maybe you didn't, for example, make that dish the same way your mom or your grandmother made it, if you're following the same methods, you're
yeah,
still bringing that tradition to the table with a
100%.
little bit of an innovative flair, which I think is just so lovely. One of
Yeah,
the restaurants that comes to mind when we're talking about this is Al Janar, and it brings in the beauty of old world Middle Eastern cuisine with new modern minimalistic decor, if you will, with a bit of
yeah,
both. And they really stay true to their cultural dishes. They really stay true to their Emirati cuisine, which is so beautiful. It's the best way to go. And if you
yeah.
were to go to a place like Dubai and say, hey, I want the best of or the most authentic of the local cuisine, that's pretty well where I would go.
Yeah, and I think when you mentioned like Emirati cuisine, one of my favorite like authentic, if you say, restaurants in Dubai for me is a place called Siraj. I don't know if you've heard of it, but the food
Ooh,
and they make you sit on the floor, and it's a very holistic way of eating. So they bring you like they when they pour you tea and coffee, they bring it in that big jug and they pour it from a height to show you the hospitality. The food is really flavoursome. It's very
oh,
authentic to like traditional
beautiful.
Arab food, Arab cooking, and I think it's a really nice restaurant to really
Yeah,
experience what true cooking is and true Arab cooking. Because I think
yeah,
sometimes in Dubai you can almost feel a bit disconnected to the Arab culture, because there is a lot of expat community and there's a lot of people from other parts of the world coming into Dubai, it's very easy for you to feel disconnected. So going to a restaurant like Siraj for me is very much connecting myself to the culture that I've ultimately living in for a while and I'm working in. I think it's really important to do that.
Yeah. And I completely understand what you mean.
Have you heard of a restaurant called Ravi? I don't know if you've in Dubai.
Ravi, no. What culture is it? What cuisine is it?
So Ravi was if I get this right, it was the first Pakistani restaurant opened in Dubai.
Oh wow!
And they recently had a collab. Not recently, maybe a year ago. They had a collab with Adidas, and Adidas and them collabed on this shoe collection. It was like a limited drop sneaker, and it was such a cool collaboration. But Ravi has some of the best. I am Pakistani, so I can say this. Some of the best Pakistani food I've had in my life. It's so delicious. There's not a lot of varieties. It's very limited in the menu, but the food is just so good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm just claiming this right now. One of the evenings that I'm there, and if dinner happens to end a little bit earlier, which going on last year, a few months ago, it won't. But if they're open late, we're definitely going.
I think they open till 3 a.m. So we're good.
We're definitely
going. Yeah. And there's another restaurant that I really love.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
There's another restaurant that I really love called. So I don't know if you know, but I'm very much an advocate for Palestine and the Palestinian cause. And so the winner of our during the A-Zenith Awards this year, the winner of our Middle Eastern cuisine of the year was a restaurant called Beit Mariam, which is a really lovely Palestinian restaurant run by a woman called Mariam. So Beit Mariam means House of Mariam. So the restaurant is basically looks like a house. There's 5 tables. It's very small, very unique in its decor. The food is very limited but incredible. She's won so many awards because her food is so authentic and delicious. So I would really recommend Beit Mariam as well.
I love that. And for me, you sort of said something very interesting. Not sort of, sorry. You did say something very interesting, is that sometimes in Dubai you can feel a little disconnected.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. And so being in a place like that house, to me, is bringing me back to the old world, is bringing me back to the authenticity of what a lot of people do naturally in their homes. And that is exactly what I do, because it's, you can't get any better than that. In the Italian cuisine, for example, the best places to eat are going to be a nonna's kitchen, a nonna's table. Yeah. And that, what you just explained, reminds me very much of that in the Palestinian cuisine. So it's, and I think we need to really appreciate where a lot of those dishes, be they modern or innovated, we really need to appreciate where they originated from. Because if we don't understand the origin of the dishes or the history and the heritage and the culture of being at the table with the beautiful conviviality, as we say, then it's difficult to sort of innovate, because you don't know if you're actually innovating or if you're just creating something that's already current, right?
That's so true.
So, it's so beautiful. And I love, I was just so impressed with the diversity of new and old and luxury and opulent and, I don't like the term mainstream, but, comfortable and casual, if we will. Of Dubai and what it just offers, and everyone, oh my gosh, let me tell you, I have one thing I have never experienced in my entire life in hospitality is consistency with every single person, front of house, back of house, being on all the time in terms of pleasantries and kindness and friendliness. And that's the one thing that I experienced in Dubai. Because, everywhere you go, it's going to be, okay, well, the waiter's maybe not having a good day, or, maybe the chef didn't understand or something, right? That's going to happen no matter what, no matter where, no matter when. But I didn't experience a single bit of that in Dubai. It's like everyone's taking happy pills or something every single morning. It's nuts. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so true. It's so true. And you're so right, because in London, I think especially in London, the food scene is very much about the food. Like, the food tastes good. And that's the extent of it. Yeah. But you're right, in Dubai it's very much, the food tastes good, the servers are lovely, the atmosphere is really great, the music is great, we have a live band, the scenery is stunning, it's very holistic in how they do food, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Yeah, they care. I think that's really what it boils down to. They actually care. Now, whether it stems from a mass competition, because let's be realistic, the amount of restaurants that are in
Yeah.
Dubai is insane. But regardless, whether that stems from competition and having to be completely relevant continuously is a little regardless, because the execution of what you see at the forefront as a guest, and I was fortunate to play guest and chef in both of those places, and I still got to see it. It was remarkable. And it wasn't just me. I was watching around to other guests that were sitting, and they all felt that same warmth. And even though they were restaurants, they didn't feel like they were sitting in restaurants. They felt like they were sitting amongst friends with family, and everybody got to know everybody, and it was just a
Yeah.
remarkable experience all around. Any restaurant I went to in Dubai.
And I think especially when we had your dinner, it was really lovely that you came
Yeah.
out as the chef and you spoke to everyone and you hugged me. Like it was such a nice a touch to have on that evening. So I think that was also really
Aw.
special. That's something Dubai does especially. Gives you that holistic view of food. It's not just about the flavour. It's about the environment you're in. It's about who you're sitting next to. It's about what you're looking at, what you're listening to, what you're smelling. Like it's just a whole palette of food it's just a whole feast for your senses, isn't it?
For sure. And, I mean, thank you for saying that, because it's funny that you did say that. So many guests that evening, and including some of the ones that were from Italy, that thankfully, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes to even hear some of them say that you brought me back to Nonna's house and you brought me back to
Oh,
Nonna's table with your dishes tonight. But, they had never seen a chef. And it baffles me. I don't understand that concept.
yeah,
So for me, it made it so much easier. And also, I can't be the person that puts a plate on the table and just lets you start eating. I want to give you the story. I want to tell you where you are. I want to take you to Italy. I want you to have a really good time. And, again, you were welcome and open to it. It made it so much easier because everybody loved the atmosphere, the food, the wine, just everything was perfection doesn't exist in this world, but it was as close to perfect as could have possibly been, I'll tell you.
100%, 100 million%. I want to move on to something a bit fun now. So
Okay.
I like to
Wait,
call.
what we've been talking about hasn't been fun?
No, but
What do you mean?
um, so I always do like a little fun segment on A to Zenith. So
Okay.
for you, I've called yours food favorites. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you two options, and you have to tell me
Yeah.
which you prefer or what's your
Okay.
fave. Okay. So first is home cooking or a restaurant.
Home cooking.
Okay. Sweet or savoury?
Savory.
Oh, over sweet.
Yeah.
I can't get on board with that. I'm sorry.
Really?
I need to have a tiramisu. I need to have a cheesecake. I need to have something sweet. I'd rather have that than a meal.
Well, you haven't been to my table yet, so let's leave that one open.
Okay, cool. I'll take you up on that. Um, a cocktail or wine?
Wine.
Oh, any particular type?
That's a very tricky one because there's very different regions that produce very different wines for very different dishes. So, yeah, as long as it is a good wine, whether it's Italian or French, it makes my heart sing.
Oh, okay. So you don't mind the country of location either. Do you have a
No, it's
preference?
just got to be a well-produced product,
Okay.
and I prefer the authentically produced ones. Yeah.
Okay. So what makes it authentic?
Oh my gosh. So there's so many regulations in Italy that go into winemaking. Um, what we consider here in Canada to be a homemade wine. It's beautiful for the memories and the nostalgia of family getting together, but that is the very example of wine that I would drink with a ginger ale. But having a good bottle of wine that's been made from a particular region, from particular grapes, over a specific time and over a very particular harvest, and the way they bottle and ferment and the time it takes, that's what makes a quality wine. There's a lot that goes into winemaking. If I were to take you to a wine tour or through, not even a wine tour, if you and I were to start from north to south Italy and just drive through and eat and drink our way through Italy,
Yeah.
number one, guaranteed we'd never come back. And number two, I guarantee you would really I don't know that you'd be comfortable with any other cuisine in the world.
Oh, that's fighting talk. I like that.
Yeah,
I,
so yeah.
okay, cool. How about pasta or pizza? Tough one.
I'll say pasta.
Oh, over pizza. Okay. Is there a type
Yeah.
of pasta you like, or is it just pasta
Well,
in
that's
general?
just it. I can have so many more varieties. I mean, pizza is beautiful, absolutely exquisite. But I love that there are, I mean, there's over 400 different shapes of pasta, and the ones I love are the ones made by a nonna, and they speak more nostalgically to me because I can
Oh,
be in the kitchen at a table with a little, 4-foot nonna making the pasta that she's made since she was 2 and 5 years old. So
yeah.
it resonates more with me.
Is this a really insensitive question? But what's your thoughts on pineapple on pizza?
Ma cazzo, non si mette mai. No, never. No. No. Pineapple is a fruit. Eat it as a fruit. No. Assolutamente no. No. No.
I'm so sorry, Daniela, but I love pineapple on pizza.
Over. Like,
But
no.
that's because I like sweet things. I think I just prefer like a pineapple on a pizza.
Uh-huh. But you also eat spicy a little?
I like spice, yeah.
Okay, so then we can turn you.
Yeah. um, carrying on with the sweet thing, tiramisu or cannolis?
Shit. Okay, so first I need to say something, and I'm going to correct you there in a
Oh,
very polite way.
please.
One singular is cannolo.
Cannolo.
Plural is cannoli. There's no S at the end.
Ah, cannolo.
Ah,
Thank you for
yeah,
educating me.
you're
Cannolo.
very welcome. Okay, so tiramisu over cannolo. I mean, crap, this is also a war between north and south of Italy. I love them both. Um, my southerns are not going to like me, but I'm going to definitely say tiramisu.
To be fair, tiramisu is elite. This is one of my favorite desserts.
Yeah.
And lastly, okay, I might butcher this, so please forgive me, and also do tell me if it's wrong. Okay, is it do you prefer lasagna or this dish I just found out and I love it? Parmigiano di Melanesi. Melanzani. Did I say that wrong?
I think you're
Parmigiano
trying to
di
Yeah, I
Melanesi.
think you're trying to say parmigiana
Yeah,
di melanzane.
that's
Melanzane
the
is
one.
eggplant, so an eggplant part.
Yeah,
Is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
yeah.
So, ooh, crap. You're giving me tough questions because they're both amazing. Okay, so, eggplant or lasagna?
I just
I
had the
mean,
Parmigiana dish like a week ago, and it changed my life. So if I had to pick
is that
between the
you
two,
ever had it?
first time I ever had it, and if I had to pick between the two, I would pick the aubergine dish.
Okay, so let me tell you, you have just made my decision. I am one of the dishes I'm going to be bringing to the table at the supper club when I go back to Dubai in May
Yeah.
is parmigiana di melanzane.
Yes, I cannot
So
wait.
that'll be on the menu.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
here we go. Hold me to it. I'm definitely putting it on. Okay, so I mean, they're both fabulous. They're both works of art. They're both traditional. Do you have like a secret both on there as an option, or is it really
Yeah, I'll
just
give it
one
to
or the
you.
other?
I'll give it to you. If you want to do both, you can do both.
Both.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I mean, I
uh,
fed you for heaven's sake. They're both on one.
yeah, it's true. You can have both. I'll let you have both.
Okay,
um,
perfect. Thank you.
okay, and then the second little fun game I had was called Flavor
Yeah.
Passport. So, I'm going to
Flavorful.
give you a country, and I'd like you
Yeah.
to tell me your favorite dish from that country.
Ooh.
Hopefully, you've been to that country,
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. I
or you've
mean,
had a dish from that country.
or had a dish. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you have. Okay, so firstly, Pakistan.
Okay, so this is where I'm terrible at a lot of ethnic dishes. I love the cuisines and I've had a lot of the dishes, but I don't know what a lot of the dishes are called. Um,
If you describe it to me, I'll probably tell you.
okay, so it is it as simple as it is. It's almost like a tandoori, but not a tandoori.
Okay.
Um, and I've had that with rice with dal is lentil, right?
Yeah. No, right. Dal is
Yeah,
lentils here.
yeah, and I've had that with rice with dal. But it's not a tandoori. It's like, but it's not. And
What
it's
meat was it?
so
Do you remember?
what's what?
What meat was it?
It was a chicken.
Oh, and what color was the gravy? This is a stupid
It was
question, but
red, like a very deep red,
that's probably like a tikka masala.
maybe.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Fun fact: that is now the national dish of the UK.
Get out! That is so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. We
Oh
love that
wow, why
here.
is that?
I think we just love it here. Everyone eats it here, and there's lots of like Pakistani restaurants that sell it and have their own like version of it. So yeah,
Amazing. Oh my gosh. I mean,
this
it's just so good. North to south, and even north to south Indian cuisine changes ever
yeah
so slightly and ever so drastically. Depends on the dishes. But
yeah
oh my gosh, it's all so good. And
totally.
again, I say, give me something, and that's it. Sometimes they say things, whether it's the me not remembering or me not knowing what it is, I just enjoy it, and
Yeah,
that's all.
there's a dish that I really love called nihari. I don't know if you've had
Nihari?
it before. Yeah, it's like a lamb shank, but
Ooh.
in like a gravy stew thing, and you have it with like garlic naan, and oh, it's just delicious. Yeah,
So, okay,
nihari.
so here's my take on naan. Somebody made chapati and paratha for me, and
Yeah,
I almost don't ever have naan anymore.
yeah. Chapati's way better than naan.
Yeah,
100%. It's just way.
yeah,
It's like less filling. It's thinner. You can eat loads of it and not feel full. Like 100% agree.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
find that there's just so much more flavor with it too.
Yeah, with chapati, there's like different flours you can use as well. So like there's like obviously white flour and like wholemeal flour, and there's like a chickpea flour, and there's like different flours you can use to make it like just as
Yeah.
flavorful as you want, really.
And it's amazing that I've seen a few people make it on the spot, fresh, the moment that they're making dinner. And I thought, wow, this is remarkable. There are so many similarities between the cultures of cuisine around the world and Italian. And it's so impressive that, we have so many connections. So yeah, yeah, and I love lamb. Like it's probably one of my favorite meats, to be honest.
Really, my favorite meat,
Yeah.
meat is duck.
Ooh, duck is amazing. So then
Love
you would have
duck.
had the duck ragu when we were there at the restaurant
Yeah,
last time.
that was the best. Oh, I love duck. It's my favorite. Um,
Amazing. Okay,
all right, second country is Lebanon.
definitely kebab. Um, I think I'm mispronouncing it, but fatouche.
Fatouche, yeah,
Is that correct? Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, love that. Um, actually, I like a lot of Middle Eastern dishes. I love a lot of Lebanese cuisine.
yeah. There's one dish which I don't know if it's not Lebanese. It's definitely not Lebanese. I think it's more like Syrian or
Mm.
maybe like Omani, but it's called muhammara. And
Hamura? Okay.
Daniela, I swear to you, this is the best dish you'll ever have in your life. It's
Really?
basically yeah, it's basically roasted pine nuts, roasted pepper, so like
Yeah.
capsicum, and then like
Yeah.
what else is it? It's like pomegranate molasses, and then you mix it all together and you make a dip out of it.
Oh,
Oh my god, it changed my life.
interesting. Have
It
you
is
ever
like
had Ethiopian cuisine?
yeah, I have had it yeah a few times.
Ethiopian cuisine is pretty amazing. Again, I don't know any of the dishes. I just love the experience of how it's all presented, what's all
Yeah,
there, and then again, I don't know what I'm eating because I tell them to bring me their specialty dishes, right?
yeah.
So,
There's a
yeah.
really amazing restaurant in London called Al Kahaf, which is like a Somali
Alcohol,
restaurant.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
I don't,
nice.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but like the food there, like there's always a queue outside the restaurant. You can never get in because it's so busy. But the food there is just mind blowing. So when you come to London, I'm
Okay,
going to
I'm
take you
gonna
there.
have to come to London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, easy one for you. How about Italy?
Actually, that's not easy at all.
Okay.
That's the least easy because there are so many food for us is not about the dish itself. It's about the heritage, the culture, the tradition, the stories that go into it. So, I mean, from north to
Yeah.
south, there's so many dishes that I love. Uh, yeah, that's the worst question to ask me. I love
All right, we'll
all of it,
skip
to be
that.
honest. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll skip that. Okay, how about Brazil? Oh, how about Brazil?
yeah. You know, you're
So I'll
asking me
tell
these
you.
questions, and I'm sitting there trying to think of these particular dishes. And
Yeah,
it always, every time I'm thinking in my head of a particular dish, it's tough for me to come up with one dish because
yeah,
the dishes for me are so much more than the dish. It's the
pause.
experience of where I am when I'm having them. And I
That's
might not necessarily come back home or, you know, from whether it's a Brazilian, for example, inspired restaurant somewhere else in the world or in Brazil, but I always end up coming home with the memories of what I've eaten because of the evening itself and the emotion that brought the dishes to me. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm probably not even the best person to give you dishes. I am so, I guess we can say unfamiliar just because it's more the memories, the nostalgia and the emotion that it gives me to celebrate the culture and the dishes, sure. But it's the experience for sure. That's what I remember more than the actual dishes. Now, if you say to me, I was at a another Middle Eastern restaurant not long ago actually, and they have these. The only reason I know is because I ate about 20 of them, and they're called Moroccan cigars,
Yeah.
and those I am completely obsessed with. Completely obsessed with. I
Okay.
mean, those give me a massive bowl of labne with even a pita and some hummus, and I'm good. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But it that's because those are extremely familiar little things that can constantly happen. But when I'm going for an experiential dinner, I don't always remember the dishes.
Fair.
I don't. It's so crazy.
Brazil make a really good dessert. Bubble tea. It has that brown like tapioca ball at the bottom. So Brazil makes a really good dessert using
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and it's delicious. I don't know the name of it, um, but
Okay.
they use it a lot in their desserts, and I remember it being very good. And also, I don't know if this is Brazilian or Portuguese, but one of my all time favorite desserts is pastel de nata. Is that Portuguese? I think.
Those
Um,
are Portuguese.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's like one of my favorite
yeah.
things.
Those
No,
tomatoes. Mm,
I could like chomp through like 20 of them.
yeah, and they're amazing.
Do they,
For
do you,
sure. Easily, easily.
do you have like a Spanish, like an Italian equivalent of that?
Um, a little bit actually. So they're not necessarily always that size, but what we have is um, if you're looking at a bigger size, so it's essentially a tart with a custard cream. Our custard cream is called a crema pasticcera. And the equivalent to, I mean, even though that is a different um, dough, a different crust, ours would be, we have a sfoglia, but our sfoglia is not necessarily mixed with that cream in the same type of dessert. So
Uh-huh.
it would be one of the things that comes to mind is a crostata alla crema, which is a tart with a different type of dough
Yeah.
with that cream, but it's even the creams are different. It's just the visual that's similar.
Mm.
The creams are different, the flavors are different, and the way they're made are different. They would be a semi equivalence in terms of familiarity between cultures.
Fun fact about me: I am obsessed. One of my biggest obsessions in life. I'm like a
Yeah.
child. Is custard.
Really? Oh
I am
my
obsessed
God. Okay.
with custard. I love creme brulee. I could eat custard out of the tin in the fridge. Like I love custard, and people find
What? Wow. Okay.
I don't know I don't know why, but I love it so much, and people find it so weird. But so whenever I find a custard dessert, I'm obsessed with it. So I love creme brulee. I love like pasta de nata. Anything that has custard, I'm obsessed with. So what Italian dish would you say I should try? knowing that.
Oh my God. You would, yeah. So for sure, there's one very traditional, it's a crostata della nonna, or a torta della nonna, rather. And it's essentially a pastry dough with the custard cream in the middle. So as a pie, if you will.
No.
And then it's topped with beautiful pine nuts and baked. It is incredible. And then icing sugar on top to make it all beautiful and white. It's stunning. But that cream, that custard goes into a lot of our desserts. It goes into our zeppole, which would be, our beignet, our zeppole, which is a pasta choux.
Yeah.
And then filled. So yeah, there's a lot of desserts that we use for that cream, or with that cream rather.
Yeah, that sounds
So
amazing.
you'd really enjoy an Italian bakery, let me tell you. You
Yeah.
would really enjoy an Italian bakery.
I think I've been to Italy twice. I've been to Rome. That's Italy,
Favorite
right?
place?
It's Rome is Italy, right?
But were
I'm
you
not
in
going
tourist
crazy.
area?
Yeah. So okay. So a bit of
What's that?
a bit of like a back history. Rome is one of my favorite. Well, was one of my favorite cities, and I really wanted to go to Rome. So
Okay.
I visited Rome and I did all the touristy stuff. So I went to like um, the fountain thing. I don't
Colosseum,
remember the name.
Emirati,
Yeah,
yeah,
I went to the Colosseum. I did all that good stuff, and I remember having the best ice cream of my life at this cafe called Venchi, and it was so
yeah,
good.
Denki,
Yeah, Venki, yeah,
yeah,
and best ice cream I've ever had in my
yeah.
life, Venki, and I remember the food being so good. We had like pasta, we had loads of pizza outside, and we just sat in that courtyard. I remember you telling me before Italian food is very much eating outside and being very experiential, and we did a lot of that eating
Yeah,
outside in Rome. We did a lot of that like
amazing.
sitting outside and eating, which was really nice. And I've also been to Milan. Is that Italy as well?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
They're
so
both in Italy,
uncultured.
very no, it's okay. Hey, we're even. I couldn't give you names of certain dishes. I just know, that I love food from everywhere. Um, so yes, Milan is both in Italy as well as Rome. One way I will share with you that's an incredible way to experience Italy. So you were in, when you were saying you were eating outside, beautiful, the atmosphere, the excitement, the vibe, the
Yeah.
energy, all amazing things, all amazing things. Um, Go outside of the downtown core, go outside of the tourist core, you'll taste a difference in the food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, you'll taste the difference in the food. It's more regional,
Yeah.
it's more cucina tipica, as we say, because Italian food exists only anywhere outside of Italy. When you're in Italy, Italian food does not exist. It's cucina romana for Roman cuisine. It's cucina milanese for Milano cuisine.
Yeah.
Cucina calabrese for food that you get in Calabria. So every region, and then broken down every area of every region, every city, every town, every village, almost practically every freaking street has
Yeah.
its own little cuisine and way of making it. So that's how you get to experience really, really, really well. Yeah,
I
it's
have to go
beautiful.
back. To end the pod, I don't want this podcast to end, but it has to end at some point. So I have one final thing to ask you. So
Okay.
I recently made focaccia bread,
Ooh.
and it turned out horribly. So what's your advice on to do the foolproof focaccia bread?
Okay, so I'm going to say something that I say to everyone, and it's pretty much my famous answer that everyone's familiar with hearing now. So there are two things.
Okay.
One, it depends, and two, everything is subjective. So when I
Okay.
say it depends, what flour did you use? What temperature was it? How much of each ingredient did you
Ah,
use? Which brands did you use? Like, there's a heavy breakdown of absolutely everything to
okay.
making focaccia. But I will tell you, instead of telling you how to make it, you and I are going to jump on two virtual calls. One to make the dough and mix the dough. And I'm going to teach you how to make it without measuring so that you'll be able to determine for yourself how to make it every other time. And then we'll give it the proper rising time, and then we'll jump back on the call when the dough has risen, and we will make the focaccia together. How's
Oh my
that?
god, I'm so excited!
Yeah, we'll do a little
Thank
focaccia
you.
date.
Yeah, I'm setting up
Awesome.
for Catch Day.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I can't wait. I'm so
It'll
excited now. Can we do it this weekend?
This weekend I have events back to back, but we could do during the week for sure, or next
Okay,
weekend.
cool. I'm doing it. Let's do it. Yeah,
And this way
let's
I
do
could
it
put
whenever
a
you're free.
yeah, yeah, and this way I could put a list together of the ingredients that you should have and a process of kind of what they are. I'll outline how to prepare it so that when I call you, you're not like, wait, what? So at least you'll understand.
Oh, that's perfect. I can't wait. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for
It is
being so much
delicious.
on.
I love
Thank
that
you
you
very much.
want to make it.
Say again.
No, I said I no, thank you because I love that you love it and I love that you want to make it. So I mean, it's a pleasure and an honor for me to be able to share it with you and how to make
Oh.
it for sure.
Um, well, thank you so much for being on the A-Zenith podcast. It was such a pleasure talking to you. I hope you had a good fun. I hope you laughed a lot. And yeah, anything you want to say about what's happening with you, what's going on?
I first want to say thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I love it. And I mean, it's amazing that we've connected in the ways that we have. And yeah, there's a lot going on with me. I'm sure a lot of it is you're very well aware of because we're working on some stuff together. So I want to keep that as a beautiful surprise
Yeah,
until, I'm able to share. But yeah, lots of stuff going on. I get the pleasure to really I'm going to make a lot of people jealous now, but I get the pleasure of really doing what I love every single day.
I love
It
that.
it doesn't feel like work to me. So, and it's amazing because I get to connect with people like you and around the world. So it's fabulous. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for being here, and you have a great day.